Today we're gonna have a look on how you can manipulate props to your liking with the new features that we got with the last update. And not only that, but Epic also forgot to mention a few extra special things that we got with this last update. So I'm obviously also gonna show you guys these today. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. Alright, so you might wonder what is the cool new thing that we can now do which you couldn't do before. Well, let me show you something. We can, for example, you can see this little rubber duck right here. We can actually, make it disappear and spawn somewhere else, and we made it bigger somehow. And you might think to yourself, we could do that before with the prop manipulator. You're absolutely right. This was done using only devices in Fortnite. There was no verse, there was no Uefn stuff. You can do this completely in Creative 1.0. But what we cannot do is this right here. We can press this button and we see there's a new rubber duck. It is bigger, so that is the same thing as before. But if I continue pressing this little button here, you can see that I spawn a bunch of more rubber ducks, and I can continue doing this, and all of them, as you can see, are spawning at different positions and are spawning in different sizes. But the most important thing, I could continue doing this. I think the limit is 1000 for these, and I didn't have to use a single prop manipulator, which obviously gives us a lot more freedom when it comes down to that. But how this was done, as you can see right here with a verse. Obviously, verse gives us a lot more freedom when it comes down to that. Obviously, it cannot be used on consoles right now, but maybe in the future we get actually somewhat of a console verse version. However, as you can see right here, we have the normal verse stuff. We have a button which activates obviously all the stuff. We have our prop, and we have our minimum positions for the scaling, the position, and you can technically also add the rotation. And last and final, we also have a prop asset, which is not the exact prop that we have in our map. So it's not like something like this. It is actually the one that we have in our content browser. So what we actually have to do to get the prop asset in here is actually go into the content browser here and then put the asset in here. So the rubber duck would go inside of here. And this right here is the verse code for it. I quickly walk you through it, but I will also leave the link to the code in the description. However, one thing which is super important, I'm still a verse beginner as well as most of you guys probably are, but I highly recommend you guys 2 YouTube channels which are constantly uploading verse only content, which is super important to learn. I obviously not give full verse tutorials, so if you want to learn verse, I highly recommend these 2 channels on the screen right now, which are Wallback, Warforged, and Pi=3. These are 2 channels which actually help me a ton. So as you can see right here, the code is basically a super simple code which allows us to spawn the prop on the random positions, which we can actually decide. So we can actually change the number of which kind of positions they want to spawn in. For example, if you want to have a range between 100 and 500 centimeters, you can actually do that. Same for the scale. If you want to have it 1 centimeter high and 5 centimeters on the maximum and minimum, you can do that. And now comes the part which is new, which is the spawn prop Transform. This one is completely new. We didn't have the transform before, which now also allows you to change the scale. So you can basically break them up as they are, change the position, rotation, and the scale all by themselves, and basically spawn a prop however you like. However, it's very important that you spawn a prop asset and not a prop yourself, meaning that this is just an instance and we basically have the same values as the original one, meaning that you cannot actually change this with the prop manipulator right now. I'm not sure if there's a bug or if it's like you have to do it in verse somehow, but if I would start this normally, I use a different prop here because this one is actually destructible. The duck for some reason was not, so I cannot shoot it, but this one has 250 health, I think. And you can see right here that I have the zone to all health here. You can see I have the prop health to 1. That this first one here will be 1 HP. The original prop, it was spawned inside the imitator zone and it will have 1 HP. It dies instantly. But as soon as we start spawning the new ones here, you can see the health of the original prop, which obviously is not that good if you want to change the health in these. So keep that in mind if you want to use this and spawn different props inside of here. These will not be changed with the prop manipulator. But just transforming is not everything that you can do with this. You can also combine this with other things that we got new. For example, the view location, and you can create something like this where you basically create your own buildings. You can see no grid here. We can go, this one is not fully functioning yet. It only works in one direction. You can see right here, if I go here, it still spawns there. But you get the point. That is something that you can now do with the view location and new stuff that we got. So there's a lot more potential when it comes down to spawning props and basically spawning at locations which are not possible at all. Alright, and there's one last one which was made by Warforged, which I already showed at the beginning. Super great tutorial actually, and it basically allows you to shrink and resize a prop by shooting at it. So as you can see right here, there's a duck, and if we shoot it, it gets bigger. We can also step on it, and then we can reshrink it to make it smaller. That is a little bit too small, but you know, we can just change it up. As you can see, the new Transform is super versatile and it can be used in so many different ways. So definitely make sure to check out all the YouTubers that are linked below. So make sure you play around with the Transform a little bit. But there's one last thing which I also want to show you guys, which Epic completely forgot to put in the patch notes, is this one right here. As you can see right here, we have is on ground, is in air, is in water. But this one is not for the characters. This one is actually for the vehicles. Actually, Hypex made me aware of this and I was blown away, because now we can actually have vehicles also tracking, like if they're in the air, if they're in water, and then you can, for example, add like points for being in air, points for being in water, or other cool things, whatever you came up with. But having actually something like this in vehicles is actually as insane as having them for the characters, because already for the characters this was a big update, and having it now for the actual vehicles is even insaner to me. With that being said, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys back in the next one. Bye.